Hello everybody, welcome to Totally Tabled. My name is Shaggy, and today I'm doing a full solo playthrough of SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. We will scan the solar system for traces of life, send out probes to explore distant planets, and ultimately discover two intelligent alien species that will change the course of human history, as well as the game.
I went ahead and I got everything set up for a solo game. Normally this board would be down here, and this whole thing would be sideways across the table. I've rearranged things for the camera, but actually if you're playing solo, this is a great orientation to have everything. It fits really nicely. Now you're going to set things up as if it were a two-player game. For the solo opponent, you're going to take one of the player boards and just flip it to the other side. We're going to be playing on level 2, so we selected this board. If you want to play on higher difficulty levels, you're going to have to use the corresponding board. And we set up the objective tiles as shown on the side. I have them placed out right here. We have two random aliens. I set up the starting orientation of the board by using the free app that you can get. That'll give you a nice, easy starting randomized setup. Got 4 random gold tile objectives there. And I've got 5 cards here at random. Now, as part of setup, I need to pick one of these and tuck it under here as income. And I think I'll tuck this one. We're going to flip this card over. You can see here it shows all of our starting resources, 4 starting publicity, 4 money, 3 energy, and 5 cards. We just flip that over and then tuck this card like this. This shows that I'll be getting an extra money as income at the end of each round. And also, when you tuck it, you get that benefit right away. So I'll start with 1 extra money. We have the solo opponent's 4 starting cards nice and shuffled, and other than that, everything is pretty much set up just like you would for any player count. I think we're ready to begin. We're going to start as first player, and so we start with 1 victory point, and the solo opponent starts with 2. On our turn, we have a list of different options that we can take. It's all nicely laid out here on this player aid. We're going to be launching probes and then sending those probes out to different planets, either orbiting the planets or landing on them. We're going to be scanning the stars for data and then analyzing that data here in our computer. And we're going to be doing all of those things in order to find signs of alien life. Once we've found enough signs, we'll be able to flip over and discover these 2 different alien species, which will add even more things that we can do in the game. Don't worry if you don't know how any of that works. I will teach the game as I play, just like I always do. I think with my first action, I just want to play one of my cards. These cards are multi-use, so you can either, as an action, play the middle part of the card, which will usually cost money, or as a free action, you can discard a card in order to gain the benefit that's in the upper left corner. I just want to play this card, this Odinus Mission. It's going to cost 3 money. And first of all, it's going to make me spin the galaxy. This whole middle part of the board is made up of 3 different pieces that spin, right? We're orbiting the sun here. When you see that symbol, you just move the marker, and we crossed over the symbol that says that we need to spin the top wheel 1 space. And so we just go like that. So let's line it up a little better. There we go. And now this symbol means that we can take one of the orange technology tiles. So we have a whole bunch of technologies up there. The orange ones have to do with our probes. I can take any of those 4 that are on top there. I think I'm going to take the one to the far left. Right off the bat, I get 2 points. And then I get the things that are on the back of the tile. So right away, that symbol means I get to launch one of my probes. And when you launch a probe, they start on Earth. Normally that would cost $2 to do as an action, but here I get to do it for free. And then I also get to take a card. And I can take either one of the 3 face-up cards or just draw from the top of the deck. I like this one, so I will take that card into my hand. refill it immediately. And then I flip this over and I put it in the corresponding spot. This technology is basically going to let me have 2 probes out here on the map at one time, when normally you're restricted to just having 1. And now if you look at the card here in this gray area, this is actually showing a mission. I'm going to keep this card off to the side, and if any time I fulfill the condition, I'll get the reward. In this case, if I manage to get a probe on Neptune and Uranus, either orbiting or landing on the surface of the planet or their moons, then I would have fulfilled this mission and I will get 5 points and a card. So I'll just keep these over to this side. And there we go. That was my first action. Now it's our solo opponent's turn. We just flip the top card of their deck. And we're going to go through, starting from the top and going down, until we find an action that they can accomplish. This top action requires them to have enough data tokens to fill their entire computer. Right now their computer's empty, so we're going to skip that one, move to the next one. Here they want to launch a probe, and that they can do. They don't have a probe on the map, so they're going to grab one, put it on Earth, just like we did, and they're going to score 1 publicity. And there we go. That's their turn. It comes back to us, and we're just going to keep going back and forth until we both pass. The rival will pass when their deck runs out. Now, in addition to the actions that we can take on our turn, there's also a load of free actions that we can take any time on our turn. Those include discarding cards from our hand in order to take the benefit that's on top in the upper left corner. So if I wanted to right now, I could discard this card and get 1 movement of my probe. Moving your probe happens as free actions. Another way we could move our probe is by spending an energy. And then I could move it to either, this adjacent spot or maybe right here. And then I could spend another energy or this card or that card and move over here to Venus. Some other free actions I could take is to spend 3 publicity to get a card. You can also exchange 2 of either money, energy, or cards to get 1 of any other good, either money, energy, or cards. You can also meet one of these mission conditions as a free action. So I have to decide what I want to do. And I think I'm actually just going to play a card. I'm going to play this card. Going to take the rest of my money, but this is going to let me do a scan action. We're going to be scanning the stars, and as you can see here, that would normally cost 1 money and 2 energy to do. So I'm getting a big discount by using this card. Now when we scan, we're going to do 2 scans. First, we're going to scan where Earth is, in this section where Earth is. So Earth's right here, we're going to come up here, and we're going to scan this sector. We just take the data token that's in the far left, and we replace it with one of our tokens. I can then put this data token right here for now, and as a free action, anytime I want, I can add it to my computer along this line. What I'm trying to do is fill up this computer. For now, I'll just put it in my storage. For our second scan, we're going to discard one of the cards from the card row. And you can see in the upper right corner, it shows a different colored sector. So I'm going to take this card, which shows a red sector. So that means that I can scan either in this red sector or that red sector where we just scanned. And that's where I want to go. Because I've scanned in that second spot, I get 2 points. This card from the card row just gets discarded. And on the card I played, you can see that I'm going to get 2 points for each red sector that I mark with this action. So I did that twice. I'm going to get 4 more points. And then this card gets discarded. I now have 2 bits of data here, and I think I will, as a free action, set them into my computer, because as I set one right here, I cover up that icon and get 1 publicity. Once I have 6 publicity, I can take an action in order to spend it to get a tech. But more importantly than that, I have 3 objectives here that I'm trying to complete, and one of them is to have 8 publicity. So I'm going to try to get 3 more publicity so I can complete that. My other objective here is to get 16 points. So we're well on our way towards that. And then this one is to either complete a red sector or a blue sector, which is one of the reasons why I'm working on this sector. Now, what are we trying to do when we're doing this scanning? Well, we're doing a couple of things. One, we are getting data here to try to fill up our computer, but also we have sort of an area control thing happening in these different sectors. Once all the data tokens are gone, we're going to see who has the most tokens in that sector. They're going to get to claim a spot, and then that sector will reset with more data tokens. You'll see that here in just a little bit. My turn's done. Okay, in order to do the top action, again, they need to have a full computer. They don't. To do the second action, they need to have 6 publicity, and they only have 5. So we're going to move to the bottom, which is they're going to do what we did. They are going to scan the stars. Unlike us, when they scan, they're going to scan where the Earth is, and then they're going to do 2 scans using the cards. So first scan is right here. Now, in order to decide which cards they're going to use to do their scans, we're going to look at that arrow up there. It's pointing this way, so they're going to do this card first. It's red. Now, there's 2 red sectors. In order to decide which sector they're going to favor, you have to go through this little checklist. So first, they're going to pick the sector that they could win. Well, right now, they can't sort of win any sector yet. So they're going to look for a sector where they can score points. Again, if you're the second person to go into a sector, you get those 2 points. Well, neither one of those, will let them score points. So they're going to move on to their third criteria. They're going to choose the sector that has the most markers. Well, they have the most markers here. They have 1 there and none here. So they're going to mark right there. Discard this card. And then they go for a second card. This one shows a blue sector. We have a blue sector here and a blue sector here. Once again, we go through the checklist. They can't win either of them. They can't score points at either of them. And they have 0 markers at both of them. So in order to break that tie, they're just going to go to the place that has the most data tokens, the bigger sector. This has 5, this has 6, so they're coming here. You can see on this card, if they had one of these techs, they would actually spin that tech in order to do a 4th scan. But they don't have one of those techs yet, so they are done. We can now move this data onto their board, onto their computer. We covered up 1 publicity there, so they move up 1. Okay, I'm going to do something that maybe isn't the best idea. I'm going to discard these 2 cards as a free action. In order to get 1 money. I'm now going to spin that 1 along with 2 energy to take another scan action. So once again, I can scan where Earth is. And I can pick one of these cards. I'm going to pick this blue one. And I'll scan in this blue sector. It's going to give me 2 points. And now we've completed this sector. So we're going to see who has the most markers there, and it's us. We have 3 to our rivals 2. So the first thing that happens is because we're both there, we'll each get 1 publicity. And now because I won, I get to put a marker in this spot right there, which is going to give me one of the red signs of life. So as you can see here, underneath both of our potential aliens, we have a red, a yellow, and a blue sign of life. I could go to either one. This one's going to give me 5 points, though. So I'm going to come here, get my 5 points and 1 publicity. Once all 3 of the signs of life have been discovered for one alien, we'll get to flip that alien over and see who we're dealing with. And just so you know, the yellow signs of life are typically on these planets. So you can see if you land on some of these planets, you'll get a yellow sign of life. Or I guess they're technically called traces of life. And then the blue are from analyzing the data on your computer. We then remove all of our markers. Because the rival got second place, they get to keep one of their markers on there. And then we just refill it with data. The next time this sector is filled, we'll just get to place our markers over here and get 3 points. But here's the cool thing. We now have 16 points, which means we have completed this objective. We can sort of place a marker on there. And then we've also completed one of those red sectors and won it, so we get to do that one as well. I'm going to leave this data here and not place it out onto my computer just yet. I think you'll see why in just a little bit. Now, at the end of my turn, we can take these objectives that we've completed. Just put them in like a face-down pile over here. And then refill. We're always going to have 3 available to us. Okay, rival's turn. Now at the top here it says that if the first alien had been discovered, then we would do something. We would sort of switch out this card for a different card. That hasn't happened yet, so we go to the second one. And they have 6 publicity. They actually have 7, so they'll be able to do this. They're going to spin 6. They're going to spin the wheel. We move over the one that says spin the middle wheel. And so we'll take this one and push it, and it's going to push both the top and the middle wheel. Of course, we're orbiting the sun, and so the planets closer to the sun are going to orbit faster than the ones out here. And now they're going to take a technology. The way they decide which technology to take is to look at their progress track. So right now, they've right there. They haven't moved it yet. And so that means they're going to take the first blue technology, so long as it has a 2-point tile on it, which it does. They'll get those 2 points. They would get an energy, but they don't take resources. As you can see here, whenever they would take an energy or a money or a card, they instead move their progress track 1 space. And then we'll just flip this here. This will be a tile that they can use in the future to boost some of their actions. And there we go. That's simple. Back to us, and the first thing I want to do is to do a free action to spend this card for its bonus effect, which is just 1 publicity. That gets us to the 8 publicity that we need to complete that objective. By the way, the 2 other objectives that we got, either orbit or land on Mars, Uranus, or Neptune. And here we have 2 things we need to accomplish. One is to have our probe pass on an asteroid spot. Then we can mark that one off. And this one is just to get a blue sign of life or trace of life. And we do that by completing our computer and then taking an analyze data action. Okay, that was just my free action. Now I'm going to take my regular action, which is going to be exactly what the rival just did. I want to get another tech. So that's going to cost 6 publicity. Have 2 left. Got to rotate the wheel. This time we're moving over the 3rd wheel, so now everything is spinning. And now I can pick any of these technologies. There's a lot of good ones. I think I'm going to take this one. So once again, I'm going to get those 2 points. And this is going to let me have a card. Now I could either take the card from, the card row or on top of the deck. I think I'll just take from the top of the deck. Ooh, okay, that's a good one. Spend $1 to get 3 prestige. Or rather, publicity. And now this is a blue tech. So I can place it here in my computer. I can place it anywhere. I'm going to put it right there. Now as a free action, I'm going to place my data. One's going to go there, and now it's going to give me 2 points. And for this data, I could place it here and tuck this card. Or I could place it here. Now that I've got a data on the top part, I can place on the bottom part and get 2 prestige. I keep saying prestige, 2 publicity. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to tuck this card. So this is going to be part of my income. Stick it under here, and I get it immediately, so I get a coin. Now, a couple of things happen. First, I reach that 20 mark. And when I reach that mark, we have sort of a neutral marker out there. Some NPC agency has now discovered another trace of alien life. So they're just going to take this and they're just going to put it in the leftmost spot. So they're just going to go right there and cover that up. So now we only need 1 more to discover what that alien is. The other thing that happened is I have this objective. And now a new objective where I need to launch a probe, search the stars, and find another trace of blue alien life. Okay, I am done. All right, another card where if our second alien had been discovered, we would switch this card out for another card. Instead, we're going to come down here and, they're going to move their probe 3 spaces and they want to get to Jupiter if they can. They want to go in this order of priority. So Jupiter if they can, then Mars, then Saturn, and then Venus. Jupiter is too far away. Mars is also too far away. 1, 2, 3, 4. Saturn looks close enough, but actually it's too far away because it would be 1, 2, and then to leave an asteroid space, it takes 2 movement. So this would actually be 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to Saturn. So the only planet that is in range is Venus. So they're going to move over there. 1, 2. When they land on Venus, you can see the mark there. They're going to get 1 publicity. And now, if they had an orange tech, they would discard it in order to land on a moon. Now, they don't have an orange tech, and also Venus doesn't have a moon that they can land on. So we skip that, and now they want to do an orbit. Right? The green is an orbit around the planet, and the yellow means to actually land on the planet. So they just want to do an orbit around Venus. They're going to come right here. They're going to get those 3 points along with those 6 points. So they're getting 9 points for doing that. And they would get to tuck an income card. Now they don't do that. So we look over here. Anytime they get that reward, instead they just move their progress marker 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. That's their action. Now, if we wanted to orbit Venus, we still could. You can have any number out here, but we just wouldn't get those initial 3 points. It's back to us, but I think we are out of actions that we can take, so we are going to pass. When you pass, you would have to discard your hand of cards down to 4 cards if you had more. We have completely spent our cards, so we're fine. And now, because we are the first to pass, we have to rotate the solar system. That marker all the way up there reminds us of this. So we're just spinning the first top wheel, like that. And now we take these 3 cards that are up there. It's always going to be number of players plus 1. And we get to select one of these to add to our hand. Okay, all of these cards are pretty interesting. I'm going to take this one. That's the end of my turn. And the rival's out of cards, so they're also going to pass. They would get one of these cards. They would just get the top card. They don't actually collect cards, though. Instead, they just move their progress tracker 1. We'll discard this one. And that's the end of the round. We now get our income. So we can see here, we're getting 3, 4, 5 money. Two energy. And a card. And when it has that question mark, it just means off the top of the deck. We're then going to pass the starting player. So the rival's going to go first. We move that to the next stack of cards to show that the first person to pass is going to rotate the solar system. And in the solo game, we do one other thing. We have to discard some of our objectives that we've completed. And the number that we need to discard is equal to the round number. So because it's round 1, we have to discard one of these. In round 2, we'll need to discard 2, round 3, discard 3, and so on. If we fail to do so, for each one that we fail, they're going to get to move their progress marker up 3 spaces. That's bad because when they get their progress marker all the way around, they get to add a card to their deck. That means they're going to be taking an extra action every round after that. So we want to keep them from moving this as much as we can. Now, we already have 2 more completed, so we're fine for round 2, even if we don't complete another one. At the very end of the game, any of these objectives that we haven't completed, they're going to get 5 points added to their end score. So that's why it's so important for us to complete these. Okay, we just need to shuffle up their cards. And we're ready for round 2. Rival gets to go first. Okay, we still haven't discovered. They don't have a probe out, so they can't move it. So instead they're going to do this. They're going to spin. Do the second wheel. They're going to get a tech. Their tech marker is on the 3rd pink tech. They get 2 points. They would get a publicity. And that just goes right there. And then the last thing they get to do is just progress their progress marker. Now that changes things for me a little bit. Earth has suddenly shifted, but it's okay. I'm going to stick with my plan. I want to do another scanning action. So that's going to be 1 money, 2 energy. We scan where Earth is, so that's going to be right here. And then we scan based on a card. I could do yellow or red. I want to do red. That's going to give me 2 points. And now I'm going to place one of my data right here to get 2 publicity. And I'll hold this other one back just for now. And I took a scan action, so I can mark that off. Okay, still haven't discovered the first alien. They don't have 6 publicity, so they're going to do some scanning. So they're going to scan where Earth is. Oh, we just gave them those 2 points. Got to refill. Now they're going this way with 2. So first yellow. Yellow here and yellow here. They don't have anything, so they're going to go to the bigger one. And then red. Yep, they're going to go to the one where they have more markers. And then they have this, so they're going to discard it to do another scan. This one's going to be in yellow. Right here, 2 more points. And they're going to put these down onto their computer. They cover that up so they get 4 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're right on the verge of getting another card. And now their computer's full, so the next time they have a chance, they're going to be able to discover a blue trace of alien life. That's not great. I think, unfortunately, they're going to beat me to what I was trying to do, but I don't think there's anything else I can do. So, yep, we just have to go forward. I'm going to play a card, this card, for 1. It says to scan in a sector with one of your probes. If you have exactly 1 signal in that sector, return this card to your hand. So here's my probe. I have exactly 1 signal there. So I'll get to put this signal out. And I'll get the card back. And now I can fill up my computer. Whoops, not with that, with that. And I was hoping to do an analyze tech action next turn so that I could get that right there and we could discover that alien, but I'm afraid I think the rival's going to beat me to it. If I had to put money on it, yep, that's a shame. So they're going to take that action. We remove all of these. We can move that one that was left over onto there. They're going to place their token right here. They're going to get 5 points. And a publicity. And they have a blue tech, so they're going to discard it to get 3 points and a movement. So now a lot of things have happened. First of all, they're getting a new card. And so I have their cards up there. They're just going to grab the top one and put it on the top of their deck. They get that because they crossed over that on their progress track. Now their marker has moved past that alien. So this token is going to go out right there. They also moved past that gold 25-point mark. That means they're going to mark off one of these. We're just going to look at their arrow, and they're going to take the first spot. And then the last thing that happens is we have now discovered this alien, so we get to flip it over and see who it is. And it is the anomalies. 3 enormous, highly reflective objects have been discovered in our solar system. These anomalies distort space-time around them, implying a connection to distant observers. Their discovery has sparked protests, worship, and a newfound sense of global unity. We are watching them. Is someone watching back? So when an alien is revealed, you take their little rule sheet, and it shows you exactly how to set them up. So it says that when this species is discovered, shuffle its deck and deal cards to the players who marked the 3 discovery spaces. Each player gets 1 card per marker. So we have their shuffled deck. We're going to get a card. The rival gets a card, but again, they don't get cards. Instead, they just move 1 on the progress track. And then the NPC, they don't get a card. We're then just going to place their deck nearby, reveal one of the cards. And now we have to get out these 3 anomaly tokens. We're going to place a random one with a random side here in the sector where Earth is, in this sort of outermost ring. We're going to do 3 sectors counterclockwise and clockwise away. When Earth rotates into a sector with an anomaly, we are then going to check each of these rows on the alien board. And whoever has a marker higher up in that particular row, so our next one is going to be the sort of pink row. Whoever is higher up in that row is going to get the reward that's shown, in this case, 1 money. And now we have all these extra spaces for marking our traces of life. Right, we can put them in any space there that matches the color, or we can, place it over there. And that's pretty much it. My turn, I'm going to play this card for 1. That's just going to let me discover a trace of life of any color I want. I'm going to go for blue, because that will let me mark that off. I'm going to go over there. That's 3 points. And a pub. And I've hit 25 points, so I can now mark one of these. And I think I'll just go here. At the end of the game, I'll get 7 points for every pair of technologies I have. I already have 2, so that's 7 points. I'm sure I'll get 2 more. Done. Computer's not full. They don't have a probe. So they're going to scan again. Wow. All right, with this one, they're doing 2 Earth scans. That is a shame, because they're going to get both of these. And then they're going to get a card scan, this yellow one, going right here. Oh, 1, 2, 3. One, two, three, 4. They are flying around this thing. And this has been completed, and they are the victor. So they're coming here. They're going to get 3 points and a red trace of life. They're just going to do the one that's furthest down. So that's 4 points. Plus the 3. A card, but they don't take the card. Instead, they move up 1 on this. And we're each going to get a publicity for being here. And because I got second place, I get to keep one of my guys there. This guy's scanning is out of control. Oh, and look at this. We passed that, or he did. The rival did, so that gets marked, and we've discovered another alien species. And I cannot pronounce this. I want to say the Oumuamua. This 400-meter-long asteroid is the first extrasolar object observed in our solar system. On its surface, we've made an amazing discovery: the fossilized remains of extraterrestrial life. Further study of these exofossils could forever alter our understanding of life in the universe. Wow, so this is an actual object. But we shuffle up the cards. We are there with one of our markers, so we get one of the cards. And now we actually place this asteroid right here. Just sticks right into the board. We put 3 data tokens on it. And we have a pile of exofossils. As it says right here, this is a place that we can actually orbit and even land on if you look at the top of the board there. And anytime we would put a signal like in the sector where the asteroid is, we can instead put a signal on it. And on their board there, you can see some of the spaces, they give you exofossils, but those bottom ones that are worth 25 points, you actually have to spend 4 exofossils in order to go there. So collecting these exofossils could be worth a lot of points. And it's also important to note, the rival will collect exofossils. So there we go. Those are our 2 aliens for this game. Pretty exciting. I think I got to do it. I think I'm going to play this card again. Costs 1. I'm going to scan in a sector with one of my probes right here. Get 2 points. If I had exactly 1 signal in that sector, I'll return this card. There we go. That's it for me. Okay, they're going to launch a probe. Get a pub, and that is it. I could afford to launch a probe if I wanted to. I think instead, though, I want to get a tech, because I have 6 publicity. What tech do I want, though? That's the question. You can't double up. You can't get the same tech twice. Down to 0. We're rotating everything. Yeah, I think I want it to be cheaper to move through asteroids. So I'm going to get these 2 points. And then 3 more. That alien is not going to do anything because we've already discovered both of the aliens. And then this is going to go through here. So now when I move through these asteroid spaces, 1, I'll also get a publicity, but it'll only take 1 movement rather than 2. Rival is passing. So they're going to spin this. They take the top card. But they just move up 1 rather than taking it. And now they're done. We get to go. Tell you what, let's go ahead. Let's spend one of these to analyze our data, because we have a full computer here. We're going to get rid of all of this. We're getting a blue trace of life, so we can mark that. I'm going to go to that spot right there. So I'm going to get 3 points. I'm going to get one of these exofossils, and I'm going to get a card. I think I'll draw from the deck rather than taking that face-up card. Ooh, I love that card. I really want to play this. I think I will. That's going to give us 4 movement. And then if we visit the asteroid, we'll get another exofossil. So we don't have to stop there. We just have to visit it. This is a tough choice because I could just move through it to get to Neptune. Or I could land on it. Well, either way, I am playing this card. We'll spend 2. I think I want to land on it. I want to go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I've done is I've passed by a comet. I've passed by this asteroid field, and I get a publicity for that. And it only cost me 1 to get out. And then I get a publicity for visiting that. So that's 3 publicity for that trip. I visited, so I get an exofossil. And I have this little mission down here that if I can get a signal on there, I can get another exofossil. Also, I flew through an asteroid, so I have completed that. Ooh, that's an easy one. Very good. And I think I'm done. So I'm going to pass. I'm going to get a card. I only have 2 to choose from here. I think I'll take this one. And then we get income. 5, 2, and a card. Going into round 3. And we are the starting player.